right, so welcome back for the second module. Deepest apologies for the last one that went on like forever and ever. But it had good content, so I hope that you'll dig into that, see what I had to say there. But this module is dealing with hope and hopelessness. Mostly hope, I hope. And the reality is, as you would be sitting where I'm sitting as a therapist, which I am, you're working with a lot of people that have lost their hope and they're looking for something. And maybe some of you who are watching, you're saying, man, just give me something. Give me anything. Like, I don't have nothing. Just give me something. So we're going to give you something. We're only going to do this for 10 minutes or so today, but I hope to give you something that'll encourage you on your way. And I know it will. But some of you, because of the lockdowns, have lost your jobs. Others of you maybe have lost loved ones in 2020 or before that. Some of you may be very elderly, and you've lost your loved one of many, many years, and you've lost all meaning, all purpose, so it's kind of like waiting for the end to come, and it's hard to wake up. I mean, I deal with a lot of people, they don't have a reason to get up in the morning, except maybe to come and see me, and the rest of the day they're just kind of wandering around in circles like hamster on a wheel. No meaning, no hope, and so what do you do? I like to go back. I like to tell people that back in '91, I dealt with a lot of hopelessness. I dealt with depression, major depressive disorder, and the reason I like to tell them about that is because I came out of it. I went from hopelessness to hope, and I deal with that a lot more in my webinar at BethesdaFamilyCounseling.com. And so I like to tell them that, yeah, you can and will come out of it eventually. Might not happen in a 10-minute module like this one, but it's kind of funny because back in the early 90s, people would kind of be well-meaning Christians would come to me and they say, brother, just get over it. Get on with life. Or someone else might say, pastors would say, you just need to read your Bible, brother. You just need to pray more, brother. You'll be okay. As if I wasn't. I was reading my Bible and I was praying. And if you've ever said that to somebody who's severely depressed or even mildly depressed, I think you just need to stop right now and slap yourself. Go ahead. I'll wait. I got time. Well, not that much time. Hurry up. I don't hear any slapping going on. Anyways, for those of you who've had to deal with that kind of stuff from well-meaning Christians, just forgive them, move on, and find somebody who has an understanding heart. People who say those kind of things haven't been there, and they don't get it. They don't understand. All right. So, and on top of all of the hopelessness that's going on, pack on top of that the lockdowns, pack on top of that COVID. I mean, all of the people that I see are experiencing more anxiety, more depression, just more of everything because of COVID. I know it's real, but anyways, lockdowns. Don't ask my opinion because I could be quickly taken off of Facebook. Don't know why, but for whatever reasons, we're going to quickly move along to 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 18, because there's a really awesome verse there that I want to focus in on before my time runs out and I turn into a pumpkin or something. All right? That verse says, but we all, theme verse for my webinar, but we all beholding, that's us, we, beholding as in a mirror, check this out, gotta love props, huh? Props, mirror. Can you see the mirror? Can you see yourself? Where is it? Oh, whatever, I don't know what you're saying. That was a mirror. But we all beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord. So Paul says something. He says we're supposed to be looking at a mirror. What are we looking at? Ourselves, right? Nay, not ourselves. Bad. Except for when you wake up in the morning. It would be bad if I didn't look in the mirror in the morning. Really bad. That's okay. But what's our focus to be in life? Sorry for pointing. Our focus is to be, but we are beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord. What's that? The glory of the Lord literally means, the Greek means, the manifest or the visible presence of God. What is that? That's just what it sounds like. It's the manifest, the visible. You can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can see it with your eyes. When Jesus walked around the earth and did miracles, that was the manifest presence of God. People were changed as a result, and we're going to get to that. But, that's what we're supposed to be looking at. The glory, looking in the mirror at the manifest presence, the visible presence of God. Here's a great example. Back in the mid-90s, I was washing windows for a living because it was just what was available at the time. So point being is that I didn't have a lot of money. We were living on Kraft Dinner and that kind of thing, and the kids love Kraft Dinner and weenies, so not a problem. But I was taking some training as a counselor. It wasn't for my degree, but it was some good training, Christian training from Elijah House. And so, but the thing cost like $200 or $300 for all the books and the course and all the rest of it. And I didn't have it. I didn't have a clue. But I had prayed about it, and I just knew, really I did, that God was somehow going to provide the money. The thing was, this is like Thursday, and I needed to have the money in by Tuesday, like just a few days. But I had the faith for it at the time. I didn't have plan A, B, or C. Didn't know where it was going to come from. So, my little guy, Jordan, he was downstairs. I have about 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old at the time, cute little kid. I went down into the kitchen. He was down in there. And I showed him the brochure for this thing. And I said, Jordan, see this? And he looks at me with his big dark eyes. Uh-huh. And I said, this is for a course that I'm going to take in counseling. I don't have the money. I need like $200-300. I don't have the money, Jordan, but by Tuesday, God's going to provide the money. I don't have it. Okay? You know? So, the days roll by. Tuesday comes around. I called Jordan back into the kitchen. We liked the kitchen. And I guess we liked Kraft Dinner. And so there we are. And I called Jordan in there, and I said, Jordan, pull into my back pocket. What? $300 or whatever it was. And there it was, the manifest presence of God. I mean, apart from God, that was impossible. I don't even remember where the money came from to this day. My wife would remember. She's got the memory. But that's what we mean by the manifest. And he says, but we all beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord. are being transformed into his image. Why are we looking at the manifest presence of God? To be transformed, we become more like him. We're transformed into his image. The more we look at the manifold presence, the manifest presence rather, of God, the visible expression of God's work in your life. What do we mean by that? We're saying that the glory or the visible presence is, apart from God, there is absolutely no explanation for how this stuff happened. And whether you believe in Jesus or a higher power or God or in general, you just know somehow God, however you define him, did this in your life. And he says the more you behold that in your life, the closer you get to him, and you're transformed into his image. Wow, we're changed. We go from hopelessness to hope. We're changed, we're encouraged. And so continue to come back to those stories. Look at those stories. Israel used to go back to, remember those piles of rocks? God said, go back to those rocks.
Daddy, why are we standing here looking at those rocks? That's just a pile of rocks.
Well, son, the reason we're looking at those rocks is because God split the Red Sea, and we put that pile of rocks there because that was the manifest presence, glory of God that split the Red Sea and drowned all those bad guys that were going to put their knives and their swords through us. That's why little Johnny or little Eli, or you know what I mean. Look at those memorial posts, those memorial signs, those visible expressions of God's, presence and manifestation. All right, so another cool thing in my very cool manual here. You can buy this. And see the cool little mirror that I have in there? It says to look at this. I'm probably over, but we'll do this quickly. All right, so what are we to focus on when you're feeling hopeless? Focus or refocus on the indwelling spirit or glory of God. Focus on the evidence of the visible, manifest presence of God. Look at his presence, not the absence of his presence. The visible presence in your life. There's one thing in your life. If it's one thing, keep focusing and refocusing on that one thing. Okay, focus on who you are instead of who you are not. That's what this whole course is about. Who you are. Get into it. It's all God's word. All right? So I focus on what you have instead of what you lack. If you got a broom, thank God for your broom. Okay? What do you have? I know you got more than that, though. Focus on your abilities instead of your limitations. Just yesterday, my supervisor, she said, at the end of the day, I'm not tired at all. I'm energized. I mean, she could see 6, 10 people by the end of the day. By 4 people, man, I'm just kind of, I put my heart, soul, and she does too. But we're different. I have different abilities. She has different abilities. So I focus on what I have, not on what I don't have. Good idea, Rob. Thank you, Rob. Focus on what you know instead of what you doubt. Focus on what creates faith in your life. Does watching the news create faith in your life? No, it creates fear. So don't focus on all that stuff, or whatever you want to call it. What creates faith in your life? Get into the Word. And yes, we're to do that. All right, focus on your health instead of your pain. All of us, all of you who are over 60 should pay attention to that. Anyways, focus on your health. Focus on where you're going instead of where you've been. Well, I used to be an amazing football star. I used to catch the football and get touchdowns. I was amazing. That was my own self-impression of what I'll be like in 5 years. No, I do not claim that. No, focus on where you're going. God has a plan for your life, even if you're in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s. All right? I'm living to 110, 20, I think. Anyways, God's got a plan for every single day of your life. That might just sound so trite, but He really does. If you're breathing, God has a plan for your day. So take hope. He's in you. He's with you. He does have a plan, even if you're limited physically. Many of you who are watching, you got lots of energy. God has a plan for you today. All right, so take hope. Thanks for listening. We will be back with the next module in a few weeks. So again, thank you, and God bless.